The RRSP and TFSA are both powerful tools to save for retirement. But how should you use them once you've actually retired? There's only one of these accounts that you should be utilizing through retirement. We're going to cover that in this video. I've seen a lot of videos out there that talk about the TFSA maximizer, and this is a coined term that someone made up somewhere in Canada here. And it's this complicated formula of like ripping out of RRSP at the end of the year and topping up your TFSA and then ripping out of your TFSA. It's a lot of money movement. It makes no sense. I'm going to simplify it and I'm going to show you the software to do this. And along the way, I'm going to show you how to use your tax-free savings account and your RRSP, hopefully two accounts that you've saved up before retirement, so you enter retirement with a healthy amount in each account. They're used very differently. Much like when you save them up for retirement, the utilization of them in retirement is very different. Now, everybody's situation is very different as well. So the amount of money you need, if you need to spend all your money in retirement, it's going to be a little bit different than you have a bit of excess money. So again, let's jump into the software here and look at Dave and Ruth YouTube. Dave and Ruth YouTube, they're both 60-year-old, retiring now. Now, Dave has a pension. It pays him $45,000 per year, adjusted to inflation with the survivor benefit of 75%. But it will be reduced to $38,000 in today's dollars at age 65. So there's about a $7,000 bridge on there. As far as assets go, Dave's been able to save up a little bit of RRSP because he has his pension plan. So he's got $200,000 of RRSP, $40,000 of tax-free savings account. On Ruth's side, she has $400,000 of RRSP and $50,000 of TFSA. Now they both only have $10,000 of TFSA room remaining. They've both lost a little bit over time, haven't done well with their investments. So keep that in mind, a $10,000 TFSA contribution limit, which of course will grow every year as time goes on. In this scenario, we've left their CPP both at 65, and both of them have 75% of max for CPP, both Dave and Ruth, and OAS starts at 65 and is 100%. So when I jump into the plan here, we'll see if when I run the scenario, they have a very healthy income, $89,714. This is after tax in their pocket, all the way down to age 87. So I left it the same as our previous video, life expectancy age 87, just comparing apples to apples here. So 89,700. Now you can see here the capital assets. I want to highlight this because this is the base scenario, no planning done, and really not utilizing those RRSPs and TFSA as well. You can see the TFSA account, there's withdrawals out of there the first 3 years, and it's emptied out. And there's really no TFSA going forward from there. And the RRSP converted to a RIF. There's kind of money in, money out. Now you'll see here, there's a car need at age 65 and again at 73. What happens is they're pulling out a lot more money when they need that car, right? $76,000. And if I scroll down, that second car that they need, they're pulling out $91,477. $30,000 the year before, $32,000 the year after. And this is the problem with kind of eliminating that TFSA and just building up an RRSP is when you need that new car or the roof or whatever it is, that big expense, you're triggered to, you know, those tax bills. So you can see their tax bill goes from $15,000 up to $34,000. There's a big tax increase. So we want to avoid that. So how do we do that? Now the other part here is $89,000 is much more than they need. So Dave and Ruth came back and said, this is great, Adam, but we only need $75,000. So what we did is we created this same plan, but we scaled it back to $75,000. So here's the same plan, but as you can see, that income is scaled back to $75,000. We still have the car and stuff in there, and you can see their TFSA, there's still ongoing withdrawals from there, but you know, they don't run out now until age 65 when they have that car. Again, there's still a bit of a bump in their RIF withdrawal. And then it's kind of building up that TFSA overall. But what I want to look at is, at the end of the day, what are we left with? So they're not spending all their money. They can have 89,000. They're only spending 75. And this is a lot of you. A lot of you will not spend everything you've saved up. Now, a lot of you will, but definitely a lot of you won't. At the end of the day, at death, at age 87, you'll see here, total value. Their TFSA still has $793,000 in it, and their RIF account still has $468,000, almost $500,000 left in their RIF. And trust me, you might say, Adam, this will never happen to me. I see it again and again and again. You need to make sure that you have a tax plan around that RIF account, because this is what will happen if you're not spending all your money. And if I click on the total tax bill here, so if I scroll over, click on total tax, you'll see $446,000 of taxes through retirement, and when they pass away, another $168,952 of taxes due. So again, about $614,000 of taxes in this plan. So if you're in a situation where you have a little bit more, you want to kind of build up that TFSA, this is not the way to do it. But this is how the majority of you will do it if you don't have a proper plan. And this is where kind of pulling the minimum RIF, maybe a little bit more, topping up the TFSA, like this TFSA maximizer video that I've seen out there on the YouTube, it just doesn't make sense. And this is kind of how it works. Like pull a bit of RRSP, there's no strategy. It's more of a high level money movement. So again, if you're not spending all your money, you need to have a clear plan. How do we top up that TFSA? How do we draw down the RRSPs more efficiently? How do we make everything kind of work together more cohesively to put more money back in your pocket and create a better estate situation and hopefully pay more tax along the way? Let's look at that option. Here we have the same situation. As you can see, the real income is much higher, $91,443 versus $89,714. So about $1,700 more after tax in their pocket, which equates to about $70,000 through their retirement. Now, how do we do this? Again, I'm not going to go into too much planning here because the point of this video is not kind of delaying the CPP and drawing down. But we've delayed CPP for both of them till 70, left OAS at 65 in this scenario, and basically created some tax efficiency around that RRSP meltdown for the RRSP. So about $24,000 per year for Dave, emptying that out by the time he takes his CPP. And for Ruth, it's a little bit different, 25,000 down. Bumps up to 35, then down to 25. So it bounces around a little bit, but keeps that effective or average tax rate quite level. But again, it gives them more after tax. So if we're looking at this, hey, we have $1,700 more after tax. That's great. But there's a few issues here. Again, they don't need that $91,000. So we need to scale that back to 75 and then restructure the plan. So here you have the $75,000 of real income. We've just left that level right through retirement. Now, what we can see here is both the TFSA and the RIF account. You can see the RIF account is still being drawn down. We have not changed the withdrawal strategy there. That's the tax plan. We want to level out that tax, and whether you need more money or not, that tax plan doesn't change. We need to empty out that account and level off the tax over time. So you can see if we scroll down to the bottom, age 87, you remember last time when we weren't doing proper tax planning, we had about $500,000 left in the RIF. You can see the RIF is emptied out by about age 84. So by age 87, there's nothing left in that account. But that TFSA account goes from $700,000 to $1.24 million. So again, we're shuffling more money out of a taxable RIF account into that tax efficient TFSA. And so we can see at the end of the day, there's no estate tax. There's essentially no estate tax from about 83, 84 onward. And if I look at the total tax bill, you'll remember before we were paying about $446,000 of tax while we were alive, but $614,000 total. So $614,000, we're now paying under $500,000 of taxes. So over 6 figures saved in taxes from this strategy. But the big kicker here is that when we look at this account, you can see that TFSA account continues to grow over time. So you can see there's kind of random numbers put in here because we're essentially what we're doing is we're drawing out the RIF account. We have pension, later on we have CPP and OAS, and anything extra we're saving into the TFSA. Now, the first few years, there's not a whole lot saving in there, but there's some. And again, this is what I call that lever account. We have a bit more money, let's put it back into that TFSA account. The year that we're buying the car, we're gonna pull out a bit of money out of the TFSA. And then from the year after onward, we're saving a fair amount of money into the TFSA. So again, topping up that TFSA, creating strategy. Now again, later on in life, let's say at age 85, you're still alive, but you need a care facility. A lot of care facilities in Canada, most of them, are based on your income. How much income do you have coming in? Well, because the majority of your assets are saved up into a TFSA account, it's going to be very efficient because that's not income. That's just an asset for you. Your only income at this point would be Dave's pension and 2 CPP and 2 OAS. So again, you've eliminated that RIF account and that income that could make you pay higher on a care facility. So in this scenario, if we look at Dave, you can see that RIF drawdown, that has not changed. That's the tax plan. You can see his effective or average tax rate is very level right through retirement. Kind of that 12-13% range all the way through until his RIF account's gone. You can see that TFSA, there's kind of money in a little bit as needed, bit of money out for the car, and then it's just constantly topping up the TFSA for the rest of his life. So again, if he had more contribution room going into retirement, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but there's that flexibility there. And the same applies for Ruth in this plan. So how you want to think of utilizing your RRSP and your TFSA in retirement. Your RIF account, your RRSP converts to a RIF and you start drawing that out. Create a tax strategy. See how much you can take out. If you need to scale back your income because you don't need all of it, don't scale it back from that RIF account. That is your tax plan. Your tax plan doesn't need change if you need less money. It just means that we're going to top up that lever account a little bit more. The TFSA, maybe if you max that out into a non-registered account. In this case, I'd say, Dave, you need to take out $24,000 out of your RIF every year, gross amount, $2,000 a month. There'll be some withholding tax. You'll be left with the net amount. You don't need it all. Based on the plan, you can put about $500 per month back into your TFSA account. But that's how it should work. Not this whole complicated myriad. Look, if you don't understand money movement in and out, you need to simplify it with your advisor so that you actually understand it. Your RIF account is very structured in retirement. Your TFSA account is very flexible in retirement. If your financial and retirement plan does not look like that, you need to adjust it and get it back on track.